we're just going to go through a few foundational exercises with adaptations and adjustments so that you can start to see how these exercises get you stronger, more flexible, and feeling better in the body you live in now. So let's get started. The first foundational exercise we're going to do is the seated side stretch. And to do this, you sit on the floor or on a chair. Now, if you're sitting on the floor and you're like, I feel super tight, my back is rounded, I can't sit on the floor, I have a solution for you. You sit on 2 yoga blocks. And when you sit on 2 yoga blocks, and this also could be a couple of pillows, your hips become higher than your knees. And that is a much more comfortable way to sit for most of us. If you're still uncomfortable sitting like this, you can use more yoga blocks or, of course, sit on a chair. So we're sitting comfortably. This is a foundational pose, and our hands are on our thighs. One of the concepts, or one of the things that we work on all the time in our classes, is using our strength to find our length. And what I mean by that is we push our hands into the thighs, and if you're sitting on a chair, this can be done as well, and we press down. And when we press down, we're using our strength and lifting up our chest, using our strength to find our length. So just stay there for a moment and have this experience of being strong and centered. And know that you can come back to this exercise later on in the day, after you're sitting too long, right, or after you're a little fatigued, and use your strength, push your hands down to find your length. So that is one of our foundational movements for our practice. Now we're going to take our right hand and place it to the front of our right knee. And if you cannot reach your knee, no worries. Take it to the top. But if you can, take it to the front. And then your left hand goes to your back. Now what's happening here is, once again, we're using our strength to find our length. You pull the thigh bone in with the right hand, and you push your lower back in with the left hand, and then you rotate, and you pause. And you're tall because you're using your strength, and you're long because you're finding your length. And that is a simple seated twist. Now check this out. Come back to the center and notice how one side of your body feels longer than the other. And that's because exercise works when you know how to work it. Now we're going to cross the legs the other way. We're going to take a moment in the seated position, and we're going to roll the thigh bones in. And when we do that, what that allows us to do is to sit up a little bit taller and get some of the slump and tightness out of our body. Then we're going to take our left hand to the front of the left knee. But again, if you can't reach the front, take it to the top. And the right hand to your back. Then we rotate. Push your palm into your back. Pull your hand into your thigh. Rotate your left ribs towards your right. Use your strength to find your length. Pause here. And then slowly, slowly come back to the center. Using that theme of using our strength to find our length, we're going to go into the all fours position. And a lot of our exercises are done in this position, and we have lots of adaptations that we can do if this position feels like it's too much or doesn't work for your body. But let's set this up first. So we're on all fours, which means our knees are underneath our hips and our wrists are underneath our shoulders. If you feel this in the knees, you get a blanket or a towel and you place it underneath your knees. If you feel this in the wrists, you can start to roll your hands open a little bit and see if that's more comfortable for you. Now, how do we use our strength to find our length in this position? We push our hands into the floor beneath us, and we isometrically stretch our hands, or stretch the floor towards the wall. So this is kind of just sinking, and that's all right. It's not terrible. But if we can push our hands down and stretch our hands forward, now we have an exercise with a future, something we can stay in, something we can work in. As you push your hands down into the floor and stretch the floor forward, reach your scalp forward and pull your hips back. Now we're using our strength, right, to find our length. Working around the back. Drop the head down. Continue to push your hands into the floor and pull the tailbone towards you. We call this cat pose. This should feel like a nice stretch in your back. From here, come back to neutral. We're going to add on to that. We're going to round the back. Then we're going to do 4 really big circles to the right. And allow them to be kind of loosey-goosey, right? We're just looking for space in the body right now. And then we come back to the center and we do 4 circles to the left. And we call this churning, right? So we're churning our ribs and back to the left, and then we come back to the center. Then I'd like you to sit up for a second and notice space found in the body. Notice that it's not just about the back, which we obviously just worked, but the whole body feels more awake, alive, and alert. So that was our basic all fours position, and I want to add one more foundational exercise that I really want you to get. So we're back in our all fours position, our toes are tucked under, and we're going to reach our scalp forward. Now to make sure we're ready to move on to this, you should feel like you're in control, that you're not sinking into your wrists. And to double check that, push your hands into the floor and stretch the floor forward, pull the thighs back, and reach the scalp forward. And then we're going to round the back again. So we're in this rounded position. Then we're just going to go side to side. Now when we go side to side, we'll start to feel some opening in the shoulder blades and some loosening in the hips. If this is way too much for you to do, right? Remember, nothing that we do is binary. It's not like you're doing all of it or none of it. Just do it less. You can do it for 3 seconds instead of 12 seconds. And then come back to neutral. We're going to do that one more time. So we're going to round the back, but I want to show you from this position so you have more of a visual. We're going to drop the head. We're going to push our hands into the mat and then keep your back rounded and just gently shift side to side. And the only goal right now is to get the gnarliness and tightness out of the back. And notice for yourself, without judgment please, how one side is easier, right, or more flexible or more spacious than the other. Then come back to neutral and sit yourself up. And seeing that one side's easier than the other, it's not a judgment, right? It's information. Because in our practice, we don't need to be judges. We need to be researchers. So what we'll do over the course of our practice in future classes is work on sides independently, is work on strengthening and mobilizing our shoulders independently, in work on opening up our back and finding some space. Those are basic foundational exercises. So good to get started with, so good to build upon. We'll be going over more foundational exercises in our next class. But meanwhile, let me know if you have any questions, and also let me know which one felt the best for you.